This is the CBC Evening News.
A very good evening to you. I'm Pearson Bowen. Staff of the United Commercial Auto Works Limited are back on the job tonight following a meeting with officials from the Ministry of Transport, including Minister Michael Lashley. The workers took industrial action on Wednesday, demanding that the Transport Board pay them the $20 million they are owed. Lisa Broom has more.
This morning's meeting discussed the late wages paid last week, money owed from the last 6 years, and the continuity of the relationship between UCAL and the Transport Board. Transport Minister Michael Lashley has assured UCAL workers that measures will be put in place to deal with the payment of wages going forward. He says this agreement will be done under a new contract with UCAL.
We've come to a decision this morning where we will look at short-term measures that would ease the burden off of the UCAL and the workers. They have agreed to it, and I am pleased basically with their cooperation, and also pleased with this morning. We will forward our concerns, of course, and we will have a meeting as soon as with the Ministry of Finance to make sure that what we expressed this morning is carried out.
Person of UCAL and former WU General Secretary Sir Roy Trotman said outstanding problem of monies will be discussed with the Finance Ministry.
Among the things that the Ministry has pledged to do is to approach the Ministry of Finance with a view to seeing the extent to which some of the pressure of owed monies can be paid. And so they are making a representation for the Ministry to assist in treating with some of the outstandings.
Sir Roy says it is not true that UCAL will sever ties with the Transport Board, but workers are concerned about government outsourcing work, which the company had previously done.
It is the Ministry's intention to promote this product, this significant model of worker ownership, worker democracy, and that this government, this minister has made it his commitment that provided we are on our side fully committed to ensuring that the matter becomes a successful enterprise, that the government will continue that relationship.
Both Sir Roy and Minister Lashley described the talks as amicable and productive and said further meetings will be held to completely resolve the issues. Lisa Broom, CBC News.
A new study has shown that treating diabetes and other non-communicable diseases is eating up the Queen Elizabeth Hospital's budget. The findings were revealed today during the second QEH Healthcare Financing Conference hosted at the Lloyders Sandiford Centre. Shane Seeley has the story.
The startling details of the study have been revealed by Dr. Executive Officer of the Queen Elizabeth Hospital. He says it was done over a 48-hour period and focused on diabetics receiving care at the QEH.
What the study found was that in an analysis of 261 beds, 111 of those beds were occupied with patients with diabetes. So 42.5% of the cohort of patients reviewed by charts were diabetics, and it is reflected as the highest documented in the English medical literature, 42.5%.
Dr. James told the conference the situation could continue to drive up cost of healthcare in Barbados and is putting increased strain on the QEH's finances. He also revealed that many diabetics are simply now spending too long at the hospital, taking up most of the bed space. According to him, it's partly to blame for the long waits experienced by patients in the accident and emergency department.
For the most part, these patients lie in bed with diet, medication, bed rest, for the most part, until the diabetic condition improves and then they discharge. 19 days when we're supposed to be moving towards ambulatory care to minimize occupancy levels, and we have a cohort of patients, 42% spending 19 days on our beds. So it explains when patients come A&E, all the diagnostics are done, we need to find a medical bed, and the patient remains A&E for sometimes a day or two, waiting for a bed. This is one of the phenomena that is driving the challenge relating to bed management.
Dr. James now said Barbados needs to look more seriously at a policy for universal health coverage. He believes it's the best option for health care financing, especially at the QEH. Shane C, CBC News.
Shane, thanks. The Acting Health Minister, Donville Innes, is convinced that the public healthcare system can no longer offer nearly all services free of cost to Barbadians. He says the state now needs to define a clear basket of services that can be offered without charge.
I think we have been fooling ourselves as politicians, as governments, and as Barbadians in believing that the healthcare system can provide everything to everyone free of cost whenever they want it. That is a first order of business, is that we have to clearly define the basket of services that the state can provide. Right now, the state is providing everything from conception to resurrection. And that is certainly not sustainable.
The Congress of Trade Unions and Staff Associations of Barbados, although losing the Barbados Workers' Union, says it is here to stay. Its president, Cedric Murrell, says despite some challenges, the past 2 years was a period of mixed fortunes. His comments came as he delivered the president's address at the 10th Biennial Delegates meeting at the NUPW's headquarters this morning. Mr. Murrell also declared that the social partnership, which the BWU withdrew from, is a model which has served Barbados well.
Barbados has promulgated a unique model of a social partnership to the world, and it would be senseless for the labor movement, which was the primary champion of it, to sit idly by and watch it being threatened or compromised without developing a plan of action to address the situation.
Mr. Murrell says government's retrenchment exercise has left a bitter taste in labor's mouth, and the movement is concerned about economic growth. The C2SAB head wants Barbados to give serious consideration to having a labor representative among its delegation at key CARICOM meetings.
C2SAB is currently represented on the CARICOM Commission on the Economy as part of the Barbados delegation, on the National Tourism Host Program Task Force, and on the National Task Force on Business Facilitation and Trade. There can be no good reason why Labour could not be invited to participate in the meetings of the heads of government as a part of the Barbados delegation, where wide-ranging matters that include regional economy, regional trade, and tourism are discussed.
Well, Labour Minister Senator Dr. Esther Bayer-Sakou also addressed the opening of the Delegates Conference. She says local workplaces have been made safer through legislation such as the Safety and Health at Work Act and the Sexual Harassment Bill. Dr. Bayer-Sakou believes that workers who feel protected are more likely to be engaged and be productive.
Ensuring that our workforce knows what constitutes healthy behavior, fostering motivation in our people, and ensuring that they have the skills and supportive infrastructure they need to improve their behaviors. Our policies and programs aim to positively influence employee health promotion and protection. And I would wish to encourage our employers to give any new rules or mandates an opportunity to work.
Senator Bayer-Sakou is encouraging employers to continue investing in their employees' health and well-being.
I like the one that NICE recently did, about 1 million steps in 100 days. That's equal to the recommended 10,000 steps a day. Days for bringing only healthy lunch and snacks to work. Days without soft drinks, a bugbear of mine. Days without soft drinks. Days for not using the elevator, unless of course you can't get up the stairs because of a bum knee or something like that. Exercise classes, in-house recipe challenges and demos, rewards such as gym memberships instead of dinners. Possibilities endless.
President of the Healthy Caribbean Coalition, Professor Sir Trevor Hassell, called on C2SAB to be an advocate and let its voice be heard on issues that can impact on the health of the nation. He reminded the association that it too has a role to play in the fight against non-communicable diseases,
in which C2SAB comes together with the other sectors of the society, that is, the business community and government, even as C2SAB itself undertakes its own specific actions for its workers. This is an approach that has been strongly endorsed by heads of government of CARICOM and internationally. But there is universal agreement that a multi-sector, collaborative, whole of society and whole of government approach is required to effectively respond to the epidemic of NCDs.
More news ahead in just a moment. Now time for you to become interactive on this question. Do you think that Barbadians are doing enough individually to safeguard themselves against non-communicable diseases? Text yes or no to the short code 8111. We'll share the results at the end of the news.
Within young minds there is vision. Vision that can lead us all to a brighter future. From across the region, these young visionaries took up the challenge with the most outstanding, winning their way to Tampa, Florida with their teachers for exciting visits to Disney's Epcot theme park and NASA. Teachers also discovered the engaging experiments which could be done.
We work with very simple materials and so on in little workshop labs to recreate very more complex pieces of apparatus, and the principles are still there, so to me it was pretty important.
Turn on to science, technology, engineering and mathematics and share your vision. Take up the Sagicor Visionaries Challenge.
Our Sagicor office at 227-7228 or visit SagicorVisionaries.com for full details. Sagicor, wise financial thinking for life.
The breast screening program of the Barbados Cancer Society, in association with CBC First Caribbean International, presents Walk for the Cure, a 5K walk and run on Sunday, October 5th at the Garden Savannah from 4 to 6 p.m. There will also be entertainment and a kids zone. Registration for adults and children is $20, which includes a shirt. These can be collected from the Barbados Cancer Society between September 29th and October 4th. So come out on Sunday, October 5th and walk for the cure.
Well, it appears that as though Dion Norville cannot ignore the lure of sea eggs, and this time he's going to jail. Just 2 weeks after he and 2 other men were fined by the court for possession of the delicacy, the 23-year-old Martins Bay St. John resident has been arrested again. Norville was held with a bag of sea eggs during a police operation in Martins Bay yesterday. He appeared in the District C Court today, pleaded guilty, was jailed for 2 months. On September the 11th, Norville was fined $1,000 with an alternative of 3 months at Dodds if he didn't pay that fine. Half of the houses destroyed by fire in Barbados are uninsured, and the General Insurance Association of Barbados is calling on Barbadians to insure their homes, since insurance rates are now half of what they were more than 2 decades ago. This is according to the president of DIAB, Michael Holder.
Insurance premiums are presently very reasonable, and I'm sure those of you that do have house insurance are recognizing that the risks keep going down. We're seeing rates now that we saw maybe in the late 1980s. For example, a wooden bill valued at $50,000 can be insured against fire-only coverage for around $300 a year. And when you think about it, that works so that $25 a month.
Meanwhile, the chairman of the association's PR committee, Anton Lovell, said Barbados house insurance rates are so low that international reinsurers often raise the issue.
When people question about the rates being charged for insurance, again, persons that support our programs, the international reinsurers that support our programs, who obviously support other Caribbean countries, and some Caribbean countries like Trinidad don't have the hurricane exposure. Our rates compared to the other countries are too low. So, so maybe we get this coming back that our rates are unreasonable or not keeping with the risks that we run. Again, that is something that should be believed.
Well, the time for talking has long passed and concerted effort is needed now to help children who are failing academically. This from the president of the National Union of Public Workers, Walter Maloney, who says that organization is leading the charge with the launch of the NUPW Education Outreach Schools Project, or NEOS. Mr. Maloney says the union has traditionally been an agent for change. The situation is no different. He explains that the program caters to children of members and will be in two phases. The first is a free service focusing on the 11 plus and getting children to read. The second involves an academy called Second Chances, which will be set up for people who have left school without any certification. A fee will be charged for the services. Mr. Maloney stresses that the nation's children must be protected.
I'm not a sociologist, but I believe that there's a linkage between those children and the level of violence and deviancy they are becoming to get involved in. The fact that they cannot think rationally, they are not thinking logically, the fact that they can't read. These are reactions to a certain set of stimuli that it is not what we will do because we are not placed in that position. But those children can find themselves easily swayed by other persons because they are not thinking for themselves. And we have a responsibility to make certain that we curb that.
Well, the principal of Parkinson Memorial, Jeff Brooms, who is part of the steering committee for both programs, says during the last 5 years, 60% of students left that institution without a single CXC.
There are quite a few children who leave school, and there are a number of schools, it's going to get worse, by the way, let me clear about this. There are a number of schools right now who do not give children a second year in fifth form. So if you don't meet it now, you go. And that's going to, the number of schools will creep. That board suggests is a challenge to us as a society. What are we going to do with these 16-year-olds, 17-year-olds who have no certification or only have one or two? They are immediately drawn to the block, immediately drawn to lots of distractions and stuff that are not profitable for developing society.
Well, the NEOS program starts October the 18th, runs for 8 weeks, ending December 13th. It resumes January the 10th and continues up to common entrance. All classes will be held at the NUPW's Dalkeith Road headquarters. 6 Cave Shepherd customers have been rewarded for their loyalty to the store. They were selected for a number of prizes after using their Cave Shepherd card or spending cash in the store as they prepare to send their children back to school. They were required to spend at least $200 to qualify. Card competition grand prize winner Seisha Waterman and cash prize winner Akila Archer both say they are excited about their win.
I got a call. I actually missed the call twice, so I called back later in the day. The lady asked me some questions and I was querying why she was asking those questions. And finally she told me that I was the grand prize winner.
In that moment when you found out you were the grand prize winner, how did that feel?
I was ecstatic. I was over the moon. I had never won anything before. This was my first time winning anything like this, and therefore I couldn't have been more joyful.
Came shopping for my kids back to school books. And I got a call last week, Friday, that I actually was entered in the competition, won some electronical. So all of them at home jumping up, Mommy, I hope it's a tablet. So I'm very grateful, and I don't have a problem with Cave Shepherd. I always did, always will continue to. And I'm quite happy. First time winning anything.
Man of Card Services Alison Brown Ellis says it's part of Cave Shepherd's efforts to give back to customers.
We know that they have options in terms of where to shop for back to school. We spend a lot of time and effort to really build a campaign that is attractive enough. We extend that promotion to our sponsors. Some of them may be our merchant partners, but generally we look to see what is attractive that we can incorporate into our promotion so that we're building an exciting promotion.
Young gospel artist Carlos Cobham is encouraging youth to believe in God and stop engaging in violence. Speaking on The Mix, he said he will be launching his album tomorrow at the Sea Rocks Dome, and present will be international gospel artist Canton Jones.
When Canton
Jones heard about Transcend Remix, and he heard the music. He responded instantaneously. He really loved it. He really loved it. He and his manager loved the track, loved the message and everything, and wanted to work on that song first. So it's an honor. It's an honor to work with him on this song, Transcend Remix, and it's an honor to have him, you know, take his time out to come to Barbados and to be a part of my album party.
Well, regional news is next, but first a reminder that we'd like to hear from you on this question. Do you